So for the past few months, companies like Microsoft, Google, Twitter, they've been slowly trying to get employees back into the office, right? They started with, 3 days a week. Now they're moving it to like 4 days a week. And I think that was a way of just slowly transitioning. It was like, all right, we'll create the hybrid model. But in reality, what they were trying to do, they was trying to slowly get people back in the office. But they just couldn't just say, 5 days a week. Because people, when you've been working for the past, 2.5 years, working from home, people get used to that type of lifestyle. The fact that they don't have to deal with traffic, they don't got to deal with the long commute. Maybe they got employees or they got coworkers that they don't like. The fact that they can stay home and spend more time with their family, that's a luxury that a lot of people that got comfortable with these past 2.5 years. So the fact that if you could just bring them back to the office and say 5 days a week, that'd have been too much of a shock to the system. So obviously these companies said, let's start with 3 days, 4 days. But even then, a lot of people aren't happy, right? People are comfortable with the lifestyle, just being able to work from home and not have to deal with all the nonsense that comes with having to go inside the office. But the issue is that when things are going good, when the economy's going great, companies like to give people the perks, right? They like to give you the coffee, the lattes, the meals, everything, whatever bonuses, whatever it is. When the company's making money, they give you all these perks as an employee, as a company. And especially if you work for one of these big tech companies, you can look at places like Twitter and Google. I mean, the perks are ridiculous, man. People got exercise machines, they got meals, they got free meals, they get all types of things. But when companies are starting to lose money, they take away those perks, right? And then they start taking away all the benefits that the employees have in order to say, all right, we got to tighten up the ship. We got to make sure that we tighten everything up to make sure that we can make our bottom line in terms of profit. But obviously, for a lot of employees, that they don't like this, right? People are comfortable working from home, and a company in particular is Amazon. So Amazon is asking its employees to come back to the office, I think 3-4 times a week, and there are a bunch of employees that are not liking this, right? They're like, they're starting petitions. They're trying to find ways to try to convince the CEO, Andy Jassy, I think it is, just to go back to say no, to not have people come back to work. I mean, to the office. He wants them to say, they want to keep the hybrid model, or they want to keep the work from home experience full time. But obviously, like I said, when things start to tighten up and you're not hitting the profits that you want to make, you got to tighten up. And I think that's what Amazon is doing, along with a lot of other companies. But you're always going to get that pushback from employees that are comfortable with that work style, that work-life balance, or that just being able to work from home. So I came across this article on CNBC, and it says Amazon employees push CEO Andy Jassy to drop return to office mandate. Right. So it says a group of Amazon employees is urging CEO Andy Jassy to reconsider a new return to office mandate. On Friday, Jassy announced Amazon would require corporate staffers to spend at least 3 days a week in the office beginning May 1st. Jassy said he and Amazon leadership's team, known as the S team, decided it would be easier for employees to collaborate and invent together in person and in-person work would strengthen the company's culture. And that's what you're hearing a lot of companies talk about. They're saying that the reason why they want the employees to come in, because it creates a better culture in terms of coming up with creative ideas for the company. And I mean, you can make that argument that's true, because obviously when you're working from home, you're not really talking to anybody. You're just by yourself, and then maybe you got some Zoom meetings, but there's nothing like that culture of being able to be in the office and having that, being able to be together and come up with ideas. And I think for a lot of companies, they either believe in that, or they're just using that as an excuse for people to just come into the office. So you're hearing that from a lot of companies, not just with Amazon, but I think Twitter, Google, Microsoft, they're all saying the same thing. So they want to be able to have that in-person interaction to come up with innovative ideas for the company. So they said the move marks a shift from Amazon pandemic era policy last updated in October 2021, which left it up to the managers to decide how frequently their teams needed to be in the office. Since then, there's been a mix of fully remote and hybrid work among Amazon white-collar workforce. Staffers on Friday created a Slack channel to advocate for remote work and share their concerns from a new return to work policy, according to screenshots viewed by CNBC. Almost 14,000 employees that joined the Slack channel as of Tuesday morning. The employees have also drafted a petition addressing to Jassy and the S team that calls for leadership to drop the new policy, saying it runs contrary to the Amazon's position in diversity and inclusion, affordable housing, sustainability, and focus on being in the Earth's best employer. I don't know where to get that from, but whatever. That's an opinion. But I think I don't think there's one thing that these people that are on these Slack channels or these groups that are petitioning for, to rescind the whole we're back to the office, is that a lot of companies are still going through layoffs, right? I don't think Amazon has announced any more layoffs, but I mean, there's still a possibility that they could still lay people off. So the fact that these people are creating this Slack channel and they're also creating this petition, if Amazon has any more layoffs, guess who's gonna be the first people cut off or gonna be let go? There's gonna be all these people that just outed themselves in these Slack channels. They're gonna be the first ones to be let go, and on this petition. So Amazon sees all this, they're gonna get access to this, and they're gonna put these people on the list, and then when it comes time to, if they have another layoff, they're gonna be the first ones to go. So I mean, I understand that they don't want to go back to this work at the office work, but like I said, man, like, it's a job, right? I know a lot of people. I mean, I understand the comfort of being able to work home, but when you come to these jobs, it's like you don't really have that much control. You can complain all you want, but in reality, you don't really have control, especially if you work for somebody else. And I understand people want that work-life balance, but in reality, it's not up to the company to create that work-life balance for you. Me, personally, I agree. Like, work from home, I would want to do that myself, but if the company asks, we gotta go back to work, what's the point of complaining? I have no control. If that's what they want you to do, that's what they want you to do. For me, like, I don't expect them to create that work-life balance for me. I don't expect them to create the life that I want. It's not their responsibility. It's my responsibility. If I don't like what's going on in that company, guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna try to create that lifestyle for myself. And I understand. And I'm very entrepreneurial minded. I've always been business minded. I always never liked the 9-to-5 work style. Work life, and I understand not everybody has that mindset, but when you're dealing with working for somebody else, I mean, you have no control over what goes on. And I get it, and I agree that, like, companies should at least create an environment where at least create an environment that allows their employees to thrive and succeed, right? But when it comes to the work-life balance thing and trying to make everyone happy, it's hard because, remember, it is a business. The business job is to make money, right? If they cater to these people, cater to the ones that be like, oh, we need this work-life balance. I mean, if the company goes out of business, I mean, then everyone's out of a job, right? It doesn't help anyone. So I understand that as a business, you need to focus on the bottom line. You need to make sure the company's making money, because you also have a lot of other people that are employed at that company, and you want to make sure that business stays in business, because obviously you want to make money. But there's also people that are relying on you to stay in business, because obviously that's where they pay the bills. But look, I get it, but like, for me, I've always had that mindset. Like, look, I'm not going to complain about what goes on with a company, what they want to do. If I don't like it, then I just leave, go somewhere else. That's just my mindset. I mean, obviously other people have different mindset, and for them, it's they want to try to make a change and say, hey, this is what we want. I mean, you should listen to what we want. But at the time during the pandemic, employees had the leverage, because obviously they kind of still have the leverage, because I mean, there's still when it comes to, like, finding jobs, there's so many positions out there that they don't have enough people to fill those positions. But when you're talking about companies like Amazon, I mean, and you're talking about people laying people off. Now it's kind of shifting maybe to the companies, and right now, like, if you don't like what's going on, they let you go, especially when they're laying people off. So I mean, you gotta be careful, especially all these people in Slack channel. You gotta be careful, because if they're going through another rounds of layoffs, they're gonna be the first ones to go. So it says, we, the undersigned, call for Amazon to protect its role and status of a global retail tech leader by immediately canceling the RTO policy and issuing a new policy that allows employees to work remotely or more flexibly if they choose to do so their team and their job roles permits, according to a draft of the petition, which was previously reported by Business Insider. An Amazon spokesperson referred back to Jassy's blog post for return to office guidance. The employees are also pointed to Jassy's previous statements to return to office plans, in which he said there is no one-size-fits-all approach for how every team works best, and extolled the benefits of remote work. Many employees trusted these statements and planned for a life where their employee wouldn't force them to return to the office. A draft of the petition states the RTO mandate shattered their trust in Amazon leaders. I mean, look at you. I mean, they can't trust the corporate. They say one thing and they do another. And what's crazy, because a lot of people probably, when they were able to work from home, and they probably maybe got this leaders, Amazon leadership said that, this is what we're gonna stay with. We're gonna keep it that way. A lot of people probably said, you know what, let me move out of the state that where Amazon was at or wherever they're living in, and moves to somewhere in another state where they could buy a home maybe more affordable, and they probably just moved to a whole nother state. And now that the fact that they're gonna have to be working back to the office, that's gonna create a little situation where, all right, what do you do now? Do you sell your home and then buy another home there, especially in this housing market? That's going to be kind of tough, but I mean, that's a big risk that if you're someone that decided to move out the state from where your company is at, that's a big risk that you took, because you probably thought the fact that they'll keep that work from home, that work from home lifestyle, and then they switched it up. So that's a big risk, and obviously if they're asking you to come back to the office, it's going to be kind of tough. So it said employees who moved during the pandemic who were hired for a remote role are concerned about the new policy will affect them. According to one employee who asked to remain anonymous, Amazon's headcount ballooned over the last 3 years and hired more employees outside of its key tech hubs such as Seattle, New York, and Northern California as it embraced a more distributed workforce. Amazon hasn't addressed whether remote employees will be asked to relocate beyond Jassy, noting that there will be a small minority of exceptions to the new policy. So there'll be some people, depending on their roles, that'll be able to just work remotely. So the petition cites internal data showing that a significant share of employees prefer working fully remote and the option of a monthly sync up in office, or prefer working in the office at most 1 to 2 days a week. It also points to research showing that remote work increases productivity and allows companies such as Amazon to reduce expenses and attract the retained top talent. Now, if that's true, wouldn't Amazon should also have that report, right? They understand productivity of their company. So, I mean, I understand that there's a report or a study show that, but who has better data than Amazon itself, right? They understand the productivity. If they're making more money and making less money, they have the numbers for themselves. And if they see that people that are working remotely are not producing what they want, then I'm sure they have access to that data better than some report. I'm not sure where the report is from. It doesn't say, but I'm pretty sure Amazon has that the data as well. So it also notes that the return to mostly in-person work could affect employees' work-life balance and could particularly hurt parents, minorities, caregivers, and people with disabilities. It's gonna hurt everybody. It doesn't matter of your identity. It's gonna hurt everyone. Like if you got debt, it's gonna hurt you. If you're single, it's gonna hurt you. If you're single with children, it's gonna hurt you. If you're the only breadwinner, it's gonna hurt everyone. Like, depending on your situation. So, I'm not saying that they don't care, but it's just like they can't think of all these people and be like, we can't make these changes because we got to worry about these people. They're gonna worry about the business, because if they don't make money and the business goes out of business, then it's gonna hurt everyone. So, I don't know if that's gonna be a good argument. And I know people are like, it's Amazon, they make a lot of money. Sure, of course, but it is what it is. Employees also question Amazon's rationale behind forcing in-person work in all cases. For instance, some employees who are part of a global teams will come into the office only to continue having virtual meetings, and they may not even have a coworker in the office. The petition says, that wouldn't make no sense. Like if all you're gonna be doing is Zoom meetings, if you're gonna just come into the office just to do a Zoom meeting, obviously that doesn't make any sense. But like I said, man, when the economy is struggling the way they are, and obviously you see a lot of companies losing money, obviously the first people to go in terms of, like, when it comes to cuts, it's going to be labor, right? That's the most expensive part of a business, is labor. So when they're asking you to come to the office, they're factoring all these things, and they're like, you know what, we need to create more productivity because we're not hitting our numbers in terms of profit. So they probably think that making sure the coworkers all the employees are together, it creates a better environment for them to innovate and come up with better ideas to grow the company. So that's going to be the first thing that they think of, and they don't really care about what kind of work-life balance that you want for yourself. That's obviously up to you to create. It's going to be difficult, but so I think it's a difficult situation, and obviously if you're someone that doesn't like it, then you're gonna have to make a choice. Like this petition that people are running, that are coming up with, I don't know how much of a difference that's gonna make. For me, that's just a way to just out yourself in terms of, like, if they have to go through another round of layoffs, you guys are gonna be the first one that's gonna go. So that's my thoughts on the situation. If you got any comments or questions, make sure to leave it down below. Hit the like button and share. And if you haven't done so already, make sure to hit the subscribe button. All right. So you guys take care and have a good one. Later.